What if everything you believed about starting a business was wrong? That's the provocative question Michael E. Gerber poses in the E-Myth Revisited. And today, well, we're diving headfirst into that myth right here on the deep dive.
Yeah, it's a powerful starting point.
We're going to unpack the core ideas from Gerber's, incredibly influential book, The E-Myth Revisited, using the excerpts you've shared as our guide. Our mission in this deep dive is, well, pretty simple: to really understand why so many small businesses struggle. And what Gerber argues is the fundamental misunderstanding, really at the heart of it all.
Right.
This isn't just about getting a checklist, It's about grasping a core idea. An idea, he says, makes all the difference between a business that works and, well, one that doesn't.
And he doesn't pull any punches, like
Yep.
right from the start. He opens the book with a premise about American small business that is, frankly, pretty startling. Yep.
Yeah, it completely flips the script on that heroic entrepreneur narrative we often hear. He says, point blank, that most small businesses in the United States simply do not work. The people who own them do.
Exactly. And he paints this picture of these owners just, working themselves into the ground, often doing the wrong kind of work.
Which leads to, what? Chaos.
Chaos, unpredictability, and ultimately, yeah, that high failure rate we see.
You see it so clearly in the statistics he lays out. I mean, right in the introduction, they're pretty sobering.
Oh, definitely. Over 1 million new businesses start every year in the U.S. 1 million.
And then, within the first year,
40% are gone.
just like that, 40%. That's massive attrition right away. It's huge. And the numbers just keep getting worse, don't they?
Absolutely. Within 5 years, he says 80% of those original 1 million businesses will have failed.
Wow.
That's 4 out of 5 businesses started today, not making it to year 6.
Wow. 80% in 5 years.
Yeah.
And even if you beat those odds, right, he points out that of the few who do survive those first 5 years,
More than 80% of those fail in the next 5. It's like the difficulty level just ramps up.
it really shows that simply surviving the initial hurdle doesn't mean you've built something sustainable. Something's fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. The deck is really stacked against the average small business owner if they don't understand, well, something fundamental. So this leads to his central question. Why? Like with all the information, the resources, the tech available today, why are so many businesses still failing at such an alarming rate?
And his answer is really rooted in what he calls the E-myth.
Okay, let's unpack this E-myth. What exactly is it?
So he describes it as this ingrained cultural belief. It's particularly strong in the U.S., he says, that small businesses are primarily started by entrepreneurs, these visionary risk takers driven mainly by profit.
Right, the image of the brilliant innovator. They have a groundbreaking idea, launch it, and boom, success follows.
Precisely. But Gerber immediately challenges that. He says it's simply not so.
And he argues that this belief in the E-myth is actually a major driver of failure.
How so?
Because it creates a false picture of who starts businesses and why. It leads people down the wrong path, right from day one.
So if it's not primarily these, heroic entrepreneurs, then who does Gerber say is actually starting the vast majority of small businesses?
This is where he introduces the concept of the technician. He looks at people before they start their business. More often than not, they were working for someone else, doing technical work.
Like the baker, the plumber, the designer, the writer, the accountant, someone who is good at a specific craft or skill.
Right, often highly skilled, maybe even passionate about that technical work. And then something happens, something he terms the entrepreneurial seizure.
The seizure. Okay, that sounds dramatic.
It is, because it's often not some calculated entrepreneurial move. It's a moment, maybe born out of frustration with a boss or a job, or just this powerful thought, hey, I'm good at this work. Why am I making someone else rich? I'll just do this for myself. I'll be my own boss.
Yeah, he puts it humorously but pointedly. Any dummy can run a business. I'm working for one now.
Exactly. And in that moment of seizure, fueled by the technician's confidence in their technical skill, they make what Gerber identifies as the single most disastrous error.
Which is?
The fatal assumption.
Ah, okay. This is where it gets really interesting. And according to him, where the business is often doomed right from the start. So the fatal assumption is, if you understand the technical work of a business, you understand a business that does that technical work.
And the word fatal is key, because as he stresses, it is emphatically not true.
Right.
Knowing how to perform the technical task, baking a pie, fixing a car, doing taxes, it's completely different from knowing how to run the business that does those tasks.
It's like the difference between being a brilliant chef and, say, running a successful restaurant chain. Fundamentally different skill sets.
Exactly. The technician, driven by this assumption, opens a business thinking they're just going to do more of the technical work they love. But uh-oh.
What happens?
They quickly find themselves buried under this mountain of tasks they didn't anticipate and frankly don't know how to do. Managing cash flow, marketing, sales, hiring, systems, all that stuff.
And the ultimate irony, the business that was supposed to bring freedom, independence, it ends up enslaving the technician.
Yeah. Their beloved technical skill becomes just one tedious chore among many, many others.
Wow.
And Gerber brings this entire dynamic to life so vividly with the story of Sarah and her pie shop, all about pies. Her situation is just, it's the technician's nightmare personified.
Sarah's story is really heartbreaking because you see her passion at the start, right? She loved baking, learned it from her aunt, felt the magic of the process. She didn't just want to make pies. She wanted to create something special.
Yeah, you feel that initial spark. But fast forward 3 years when Gerber meets her. What's her reality then?
It's brutal. She's utterly exhausted, up before dawn, at the shop, baking by 3 a.m., working nonstop until late at night, like 9:30, 10 p.m.
Just grinding.
And she's doing everything: baking, opening, serving, cleaning, shopping, banking.
And here's the crucial point then. After all that, then she tries to figure out the finances after like a 19-hour day.
Exactly. And despite having this beautiful, well-equipped shop, best oak floors, ovens, displays, he says she's deep in debt.
And the most tragic part.
She hates baking pies now. The very thing she loved, the thing that sparked the entire venture, has become a source of misery. She can't stand the thought, smell, or sight of them.
Oh, man.
You feel it when he describes her kicking the oven and asking, "What do I do now?" That despair. It's the culmination of the technician making that fatal assumption. Her skill got trivialized, buried under that welter of other, less familiar and less pleasant chores.
Her emotional arc, that initial exhilaration of starting, quickly followed by terror, then exhaustion, and finally, despair and loss, is, Gerber argues, the typical trajectory. It's what happens to technicians trapped by that assumption.
They don't just lose the business.
No, they lose their connection to their craft and, in a way, a piece of themselves. It's quite profound.
It's such a powerful illustration of the core problem. But Gerber says the technician isn't the only issue, right? There's more to it.
That's correct. He introduces another fundamental concept.
Yeah.
That everyone who goes into business, whether they realize it or not, is actually 3 personalities rolled into one.
Okay.
The entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician.
The visionary, the organizer, and the doer. Makes sense.
Precisely. And the inherent tension, the conflict, is that each of them wants to be the boss, but none of them wants to have a boss. So they start the business thinking they're escaping external authority, only to find the conflict is now raging inside them, between these 3 roles.
And the problem isn't just that the technician is, too dominant.
Well, that's often the case initially, but the deeper issue is the lack of balance and integration between all 3. A successful business needs all 3 personalities working together, in harmony, not fighting for control.
Okay.
Right. If the entrepreneur is unchecked, you get big ideas, but maybe no structure, no follow-through. Yeah. If the manager's unchecked, you get all process, all order, but maybe no innovation, no vision.
Stagnation.
And if the technician is unchecked, well, you get Sarah, someone doing the work endlessly, but without a viable business structure around it.
So after laying out this really compelling diagnosis of why businesses fail, what does Gerber offer as the way out? How do you build a business that actually works, that serves you, instead of, the other way around?
Well, while this deep dive is mostly focused on the problem he identifies, the excerpts do hint at his proposed solution framework. He introduces ideas like the turnkey revolution and, most importantly, the business development process.
The business development process, that sounds like where the practical solution lies.
It is. Gerber argues that this process, when it's systematized and applied purposely by the owner, it has the power to transform any small business.
How? What does it involve?
It's really about shifting your focus. It's not about you doing all the technical work anymore. It's about building a system that produces the desired result, whether that's a pie, a service car, a tax return, consistently and efficiently.
So the system does the work.
Ideally, yeah. Independent of the owner having to do all the hands-on technical stuff, it's about working on your business, treating the business itself as the product, not just working in it, doing the tasks.
He makes it clear it's not some quick fix, right? That it requires hard work.
Oh, definitely. But he describes it as incredibly gratifying work because it gives the owner control, real control, over their destiny and helps build something truly valuable, something that can operate without them.
And this connects back to his core message, which feels really profound, that your business is an absolute reflection of you.
Exactly. If you're thinking about business as sloppy, disorganized, or based on a false premise like that fatal assumption, well, your business is going to reflect that chaos.
So to change your business, you have to change first. Specifically, your fundamental understanding of what a business is and what your role within it should be.
Precisely. The book isn't just a list of steps like a simple how-to. It's about producing extraordinary results. But first, you have to get your idea of business straight. You have to understand the underlying principles and then apply a clear, systematized process. The how-to only really works once that fundamental shift in perspective happens.
Okay, so what does all this mean for you, the listener, whether you currently own a business or are maybe thinking of starting one?
I think the core takeaway is this: the devastating failure rate we talked about. It's often not about a lack of passion or technical skill. It's rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding, that fatal assumption. It leads technicians to confuse their craft with the business of their craft. And that path, while common, usually leads to overwhelm, debt, and despair. Why? Because they're working in the business as the technician.
Instead of working on the business.
Exactly, working on it as the entrepreneur and manager, building a system that works.
It forces you to really look inward, doesn't it, at your own approach? And that leaves us with a powerful, maybe provocative thought for you to consider.
Yeah. If you own a business or you're dreaming of starting one, take a moment and honestly reflect. Which of those three personalities, the entrepreneur, the manager, or the technician, is currently in the driver's seat for you? Really think about it.
And based on Gerber's ideas that we've discussed, is that serving you? Is it serving your business well?
Understanding that internal dynamic, that potential conflict, and realizing the power of shifting your focus from just doing the work to building the system that does the work. That might just be the essential first step towards creating a business that truly thrives and hopefully gives you the freedom you were looking for in the first place.
Thanks for diving into these powerful ideas from the E-Myth Revisited with us today. We really hope this gives you a new lens, maybe a new way to look at your own business journey.